You are alive. That sounds obvious until you actually sit with it. You're here. Before all of the time before you were born and all of the time after you die, you got dropped into this tiny window and told to live. That should disturb you a little. It should wake you up, because most people don't really live with that fact in their head. They wake up, scroll, eat, go somewhere, come back, waste time, sleep, and repeat. Then once in a while, usually late at night when the room is quiet, the question shows up. What's the point of all of this? What's the meaning of life? Why am I here? And people act like this is some, I don't know, fake, weird, deep question, when really it's not. It's one of the most normal questions a human being can ask. Everyone's heard it, most people have asked it, but a lot of people are also secretly haunted by it. Because if you never answer it, even loosely, life starts feeling random. You can have money and still feel empty. You can look good and still feel lost. You can have friends and still feel disconnected from yourself. A life without meaning is still a life. It's just hollow from the inside. And that's why this question matters. Because when most people say they feel empty, a lot of the time what they actually really mean is this. I'm moving, but I don't know what I'm moving towards. That's honestly kind of sad, and the internet makes it even worse. You can open your phone and see 10 different meanings of life in 10 minutes. One guy says the meaning is God. One guy says it's money. One guy says it's his family. One guy says there's no meaning at all. One guy says the point is to be happy, and the other says the point is to suffer well. And after a while, you close your phone even more confused than you were before you opened it. So let me say this clearly. There is no single sentence that solves this question for every person. If you clicked on this video hoping I was going to give you one magic line and suddenly your whole life would make sense, that's not gonna happen. But I do think there are better answers and worse answers. And I think most people take the wrong answers very early on. They look for meaning in things that can be bought, touched, or shown off. That path ends horribly. I know because I went through versions of it myself. There were times when I thought my whole purpose was to look good. That was it. Look better, get bigger, get leaner, get more attention. Then after a while, my life purpose got even smaller. I thought the point of life was to attract girls. I mean, come on, to be desirable, to be wanted, to feel chosen. But if you live like that, your whole life starts shrinking around other people's reactions. You begin measuring your worth through looks, attention, validation, all this shallow stuff that feels exciting for a while and then turns empty real fast. So I moved on to the next answer. Money, success, winning. I thought maybe the meaning of life was to become wealthy, become powerful, become undeniable, build something huge and prove myself. That one got further. It had more fire to it. But even that was not the full answer. Because money can support your purpose, but money itself cannot be your purpose. The second you make something materialistic the center of your whole existence, you hand your soul to something too small to carry it. That's where I think a lot of people get trapped. They confuse a target with a purpose. A target is something you hit. A purpose is something you live by. Those are not the same things. Money can be a target, a physique can be a target, a career can be a target, success can be a target. But if your purpose is to only collect these things, your life becomes a constant chase with no real arrival. That's why a lot of rich people feel really empty inside. That's why some of the most beautiful people alive still feel miserable. That's why some successful people wake up and think, is this it? Because they answered the question too broadly. The oldest serious thinkers understood this better than most modern people do. Aristotle's answer was not feel good all the time. He saw the highest human good as eudaimonia, human flourishing, living well, becoming excellent in the way a human being was meant to live. That means your life matters when it grows in virtue, character, and right action, not just pleasure. That's a much better starting point, because it means the meaning of life is not some treasure buried in one perfect moment. It's something built through the kind of person you become. That's when you get to somebody like Viktor Frankl. Frankl went through one of the worst things a human being can go through and still came back saying the search of meaning is one of the deepest human drives. His whole point was that life keeps asking something from you, and you answer by the way you live, by the responsibilities you take, by the way you carry suffering, and by the way you love. That idea really hit me hard, because it changes the question. Instead of standing there asking, what does life owe me? You start asking, what is life asking from me now? That's a much more mature question. That question grows a person, and then there's the darker answer. Camus, absurdism, all that. The universe does not hand you a clean explanation. You look out into the world and see beauty, pain, death, randomness, unfairness, love, stupidity, suffering, all mixed together. And if you're honest, part of life really does feel absurd. Camus wrote straight into that tension. He kept coming back into alienation and absurdity, to the gap between our hunger of meaning and the silence of the world. That answer matters too, because some people need to hear that the confusion they live in is not proof that they're broken. It's proof that they're awake. Now, here's when this gets bigger than philosophy. Purpose is not just a beautiful idea. It changes people. Research keeps finding the same pattern over and over. A strong sense of purpose is linked to lower depression and anxiety, and in adolescence, it appears to protect mental health instead of being some pointless luxury. Studies have also found that the meaning of life is one of the strongest predictors against loneliness. That matters, because it means the question is not just intellectual, it's practical. The meaning of life is not some coffee shop debate that smart people have for fun. If you can't answer it at all, not even imperfectly, there is a good chance your life starts drifting. A person without a why, it becomes easy to distract, easy to depress, easy to sedate, easy to control. That is exactly what a lot of people look like right now. They're not evil or lazy or something like that, they're just unanchored. They have no inner direction, so literally anything can pull them. A trend can, a mood can, a relationship can, a feed, a bad month, everything pulls them if there is no center. That's what meaning gives you, a center. Not a perfect life, but a center. Now let me bring in the Christian side without turning this into some sermon. If you believe in God, then meaning is not something you invert from nothing. It's something you uncover. Scripture comes back again and again to the idea that human life is not random. Jeremiah speaks of God's plan. Proverbs says we make our own plans, but God's purpose is what stands. Romans says that for those called according to his purpose, even painful things can be worked towards good. This doesn't mean that every event feels good. It means your life isn't meaningless just because it hurts. And that matters to me personally, because one of the reasons I have so much confidence in my future is that I don't think I'm here by accident. I don't think I was dropped onto this earth for nothing. I believe I was sent here to improve, build, and help others with what I become. That doesn't make me special. It gives me responsibility. And that's a very different way to live. You stop asking your life to constantly prove itself to you. You start seeing your gifts, your struggles, your ambitions, even your pain as material, as raw material. Something that has to be sharpened into a calling. That's a really powerful way to look at existence. And even if you're not religious, I still think there's something useful there. The useful part is, your life should feel like it's in the service of something bigger than your own temporary cravings. The second your whole purpose becomes feel good, get attention, get money, collect pleasure, your world becomes tiny. I think most people don't fail at this question because they're stupid. They fail because they rush it. They want a final answer too early. They want to know at 16 exactly what their life means. That's not how it works. Meaning usually reveals itself through contact with life, through trial, through failure, through sessions where you were completely wrong, through wanting one thing and then outgrowing it, through discovering that your first answer was too small. That's normal. That's not you being lost. It's part of the journey. A child might think they want to become a musician, then life takes their voice. A teenager might think love is everything, then heartbreak changes them. Someone else might think status is everything, then achieve it and still feel empty. That doesn't mean life failed them. That means life is refining the question. In that sense, confusion is not always a problem. Sometimes it's a sign that your old answer is dying and that a better one is being born. That process hurts, but it's useful. Here's the best answer I can give you without lying to you. The meaning of life in the biggest sense is that each human being has to discover what they are here to answer for. That's the broad answer. And the meaning of your life is the specific form that life takes in you. That's why copying someone else's purpose never works. They can be inspired by someone else. You can borrow courage from them, but you can't wear their calling like a jacket. It will never fit properly. That's why some people keep chasing the wrong life. They found an answer online and tried to force it on themselves. One guy says the meaning of life is family, another says it's money, another says it's traveling, another says it's impact, another says it's God and only God. The truth is, the final shape of meaning has to be discovered in contact with your own life. Your gifts, your pain, your conscience, your hunger, your responsibilities, your opportunities. That's why it takes time. Listen, you don't find your purpose by sitting in your room trying to think your way into destiny. You'll find it by moving, by paying attention to what gives you a strange kind of rightness. Not pleasure, rightness. The kind of thing that makes you tired but clear. The kind of work that feels hard but still worth it. The kind of responsibility that scares you and still feels like yours. The kind of help you give that leaves you feeling more like yourself afterward. That's where meaning starts giving clues. You also find it by noticing what kind of emptiness keeps returning. If you keep chasing something and it keeps leaving you hollow, that's information. Let's say if validation leaves you hollow, that's information. If money alone leaves you hollow, that's also information. If attention leaves you hollow, that's also once again information. Life will keep giving you feedback. Most people just ignore it because they're too busy numbing themselves. There's another clue too. Meaning usually asks something from you. It costs something. It requires you to grow. It requires sacrifice. That's why shallow goals are so popular. They cost less of your soul. A real purpose usually asks more than your original ego wanted to give. That's how you know it's serious. So, what is the meaning of life? The biggest answer I can give is this. Life is the search for the answer to the question your existence is asked, and your answer is not spoken once, it's lived. It's lived through what you love. It's lived through what you love, through what you build, from what you refuse to become, from what you serve, from what you endure, from who you help, from what kind of soul you're creating while you're here. That's why this question matters so much. Because if you never ask it, you can still survive. You can still make money. You can still look normal from the outside. You can still die old. But something in you stays unfinished. And I think a lot of depression, confusing, drifting away, and quiet misery comes from exactly that. People are living, but they're not answering anything. They're moving, but they're not aimed. They're alive, but not aligned. So don't panic if you don't have the answer yet. Most people don't. Just don't run from the question. Stay with it. Let life shape you. Let suffering teach you. Let your conscience interrupt you. Let your gifts speak. Let God speak to you if you believe. And keep walking until the answer stops being a sentence and starts becoming the way you actually live. Because in the end, the meaning of life is not something you finally hold in your hand like an object. It's something you grow into. And the person who has spent his whole life honestly growing into it has already found more of the answer than the person who has never asked it at all.